Welcome in, everybody, from On the Border in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey, 920 a.m. in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties, or worldwide on the web at 920thejersey.com. We welcome you in on a beautiful Thursday, February 23rd, in the year of 2017, 72 degrees outside. When I woke up this morning, I was wearing some jeans, and I wish I was wearing some shorts, but we are here today, and we're powered by Corona and Corona Light here until 6 o'clock. And I was informed when I walked in by my man Tony, that actually the man that is running this place, and it's a very fine establishment, that yesterday was National Margarita Day. And I could tell you right now, if you're a Sixers fan, you're probably going to want to be sipping on a few margaritas, maybe more than a few. You may want to be sipping on a lot of margaritas, because today was an awful day for the Philadelphia 76ers. We have two good guests for you today. Coming up in 15 minutes from now, Derek Jones, the voice of the Princeton Tigers basketball team, will hop on board with us. And then the 5 o'clock hour at 5:15, the man that is the leader of Trust the Process Nation and also runs Sports Radio 94 WIP, Spike Eskin, will join us. Well, let's get into why today was such a bad and pathetic day for the Philadelphia 76ers. The long-term plan of this organization, it did not get affected today. By that I mean, this is not a team that I look at and say, oh my God, the world is coming to an end, this team's now going to be a disaster, and the Sixers are totally destroyed. No, but it wasn't a good day for the Sixers. They still have Joel Embiid, they still have Ben Simmons, they still have Dario Saric, but they made a trade today that no one saw coming. And this was a bad of a trade as you could get. And you basically gave away Nerlens Noel for nothing. You get Andrew Bogut back. He won't be here by the end of the day. It'll be like the Frank Gore era in Philadelphia. Very brief. You get Justin Anderson. Who cares? And you get this fake top-protected, 18 top-protected first-round pick, which is never going to happen because the Mavs are going to be within the top 18 of the draft. So that turns into 2 second-round picks, one in 2017 and one in 2018. And the player that you gave away was Nerlens Noel. And this is just absolutely disgraceful and an awful job by Bryan Colangelo. When the trade first happened, I thought to myself, okay, this told me that Bryan Colangelo wasn't going to sign Nerlens Noel at the end of the year. And I could live with that. And I thought there would be a first-round pick, and I kept on saying, let's wait to see what the protection limits are. And then when I found out that that top 18 protection, if it does not go in the Sixers' favor this year, that it turns into 2 second-round picks in 2017 and 2018, then I came to the conclusion that this was just a brutal trade. Because this is a bad trade. If they would have traded Jahlil Okafor today for that, I would have been fine with that. And if that's what they got for Nerlens Noel, well, everything that we were hoping and imploring Colangelo to get for Jahlil Okafor, well, maybe he would have got a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick for Jahlil Okafor, and those don't even exist in the NBA. That is how bad of a deal this is. It makes no sense to me why you would just give up Nerlens Noel for nothing. I would have rather seen Noel and Embiid get some time on the court this year, more than what we've seen so far, and then if you lose him in free agency, you lose him. If you don't want to give him that big deal, okay, the Sixers have all the money in the world to afford someone. They have an ample amount of cap room. But if you lost him at the end of the year, I could have been fine with that, because what you basically got today in return is nothing that's that great. It's nothing that you hold your breath over, and when you find out what the news is, you jump up and down. You're just jumping up and down today in frustration. And Bryan Colangelo has been on the record before, and he said that he'll never just make a trade to make a trade, and that they're going to get something or someone of equal value in return. Well, what's the equal value that you got back for Nerlens Noel? I could give you the answer. It's absolutely nothing. The Sixers got back crap for Nerlens Noel, and that is the truth. And this is why today, and I get it, Bryan Colangelo's an easy target. I don't think he's this awful GM like some other people do. But what he did today is really embarrassing. And I would love to hear what his explanation is on this trade. Because right now, all of Sixers Nation and everyone that says trust the process, or even if you don't say trust the process, if you are a Sixers fan, you're saying, what? What type of trade did he make? Really? He just gave away Nerlens Noel, who everyone was in favor of keeping Noel over Okafor. And he just gave away Nerlens Noel for nothing. And Jahlil Okafor is still here. And let me remind you, they told Okafor, don't show up. And then they brought him back to Boston as they were trying to get the rest of the league to realize, oh, maybe they're close to making a deal, and then some team would give him finally something that they wanted. The Sixers had no chance ever to get anything for Jahlil Okafor because they had a logjam at the center position. They had 3 centers. You think a team's just going to call you up and say, oh, we'll give you a first-round pick, unprotected, boom, we'll take it? No. They saw the level of desperation that the Sixers had. And that's why the Sixers eventually had to give away someone for nothing. And this is what they did today. They gave away someone for nothing, and it was Nerlens Noel. It should have been Jahlil Okafor. Because in a Sixers uniform, what has Jahlil Okafor done? Absolutely nothing. The guy doesn't play defense, and he's been off the court a big-time problem. Going back to last year and some of the stuff that he did in Boston and driving on the bridge at 100-plus miles an hour, whatever it's been. This guy has no positive quality in Philadelphia. Is there a chance you could salvage his career? Of course. I think Jahlil Okafor could go to some other place and could be a good player. But Jahlil Okafor in Philadelphia, how do you salvage his career in Philly? The guy doesn't play defense. Is Brett Brown just going to be a mastermind overnight? And it's no knock on Brett. I think he's a good coach. But how the heck are you going to get this guy to play defense? And this may not be the end of Jahlil Okafor. Maybe they find a team that gets a little bit desperate draft night and they find a way to get a deal done for Okafor. But if Okafor is here and they don't get a deal done on draft night, and that is the last chance, then Okafor will be in Philadelphia until he's a free agent until he's 2019. And why do you want Jahlil Okafor on the team? I'd rather have Nerlens Noel for the rest of the year and then some team gives him $100 million and you lose him. I thought it would behoove the Sixers, even though he's not a starter. He wouldn't be a starter on this team, but I thought it would behoove the Sixers to keep Nerlens Noel. And if you kept Nerlens Noel, you got rid of Jahlil Okafor, you gave him away for nothing. Boston wanted him, just give him away to Boston or give him away to some team on the West Coast. And then you try at the end of the year, because remember, Noel's a restricted free agent, maybe they would have matched the other team that was making an offer. And if you lost him, guess what? You lost him for nothing. But today, you lost him for nothing. You lost him for nothing, and you thought you were getting something back, and you got nothing back. What are you going to tell me? Justin Anderson, no knock on him, but what is he, Steph Curry? No, that's not going to be the case. And this is just a bad day for the Sixers, and Colangelo couldn't screw this up. And the reason why is this is a fan base that they love Sam Hinkie so much. And I understand it's a divided fan base, but a decent amount of the fan base loves Sam Hinkie so much, and they're looking to pounce on the throat of the general manager. And most days I say they're ridiculous to pounce on the throat of the general manager for some of the stuff they complain about. Don't get me wrong. The lack of transparency and the way that Embiid has been handled, and them saying he's day-to-day and then he misses a few weeks, it even annoyed the fans, and it should, and even annoyed Joel Embiid from what I read a few moments ago from some of the quotes that he said after practice. But if you want to have legitimate beef with Bryan Colangelo, today that beef is 110% warranted because he made a bad deal today after he said, and this is lying Bryan Colangelo, Brian, why you lying? He's lying again. He said he would not make a trade just to make a trade, and they would get something back with significant value. Well, what was the significant value you got back today? Because don't sell me that it's the first-round pick. That's top 18 protected. That's not happening. The Mavericks aren't good. Yeah, they have an outside chance of making the playoffs, but it's going to be within the top 18. And you're going to tell me the second-round pick? Heck, the Sixers have more second-round picks, I think, than any team in the league. They may have every pick in the second round. This is a bad deal. Like I said, though, the long-term future of the franchise, though, I still think they're in a good spot because you have Embiid, you have Simmons, you have Sarge, you have a lot of picks coming up with the Lakers pick and also the Kings pick that's unprotected in 2019. But today, you had Nerlens Noel, and now you no longer have him, and you got nothing back. If it would have been Okafor, I'm fine with it. You give away Okafor for free, I'm fine with it because they need to give someone away. And if I rank those 3 players, I go Embiid 1, clearly, he's the transcendent player, Noel 2, and then Okafor 3. There is no way why, in Colangelo's mind, why he thought it should have been a good deal to usurp Noel and Okafor. It just shouldn't have happened. He can, in his rankings, say, oh, I'm going to take Okafor. I'm going to place him of more of importance over Nerlens Noel. It makes zero sense. And that's why it's a bad deal today. And then we get to the Knicks. And by the way, the Sixers also traded Ilyasova last night. I know some people were bitching about that. I didn't mind it because now you're going to see more Dario Saric from now until the end of the season. So I'm fine with that. Ilyasova was a very nice player with the Sixers, but you give him away, that's fine. He wasn't going to be here at the end of next year anyway. But then we get to the Knicks. The Knicks do nothing. They supposedly wanted to get rid of Derrick Rose, and they would have got Ricky Rubio back, but the T-Wolves, they balked right before the 3 p.m. trade deadline. So the Knicks do nothing. Carmelo Anthony, I told you he wasn't going anywhere. Phil Jackson could cryptic tweet all he wants. Phil Jackson can want to trade Carmelo Anthony, but Carmelo Anthony does control where he goes because of the no trade clause in his contract. And Carmelo Anthony right now, and Phil has made it miserable for him because Phil has done nothing to help the Knicks. He's the one that at the end of the day will control if he's going to go. So we'll see if Phil Jackson makes it a little bit more miserable from now until the end of the season with Carmelo Anthony, and then maybe we revisit this in the offseason. And then one more thing before we get to Derrick Jones, the voice of Princeton Tigers basketball team that has won 13 games in a row. There was a lot of innuendo about Jimmy Butler and Paul George. If I'm the Sixers or the Celtics, I would have absolutely tried to acquire one of Jimmy Butler or Paul George. Butler under contract in 2018 and 2019, about $18 million and $19 million a year. George under contract through 2018 at $19 and $20 million a year. And you have all these picks. The Sixers have a bevy of picks. Kings, Lakers, and their own. The Celtics have an abundance of picks with the deal that they made with the Nets for KG and Paul Pierce, and they also have their own. You look at the Sixers, I would have given up 1 or 2 picks to try to get a Jimmy Butler or Paul George. I would have given up 2 picks, 2 first-round picks, because those are transcendent players, and players that if you added them with Simmons and Embiid, that's a legitimate roster also with Dario Saric. And if you're the Celtics, you're the 2nd seed in the East. And right now with this roster, 2nd seed in the East, it's not going to win you anything because LeBron's still with the Cavs. But if you give me Al Horford, if you give me Isaiah Thomas, and you also give me a Jimmy Butler or Paul George, then you have something. I would have given away one of their own picks and also the Nets pick. That will probably be the first pick in the draft this year. 609-9199-D200. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. We are here today at On the Border in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, powered by Corona and Corona Light. We'll take our first break of the day. When we get back, we'll put the Sixers talk briefly on the back burner as it's a big Sixers day today because Lion Bryan Colangelo traded Nerlens Noel for nothing. But when we get back, we'll talk about some Princeton basketball. They've won 13 in a row. Derrick Jones, their play-by-play voice, will join us next.